Record. Okay, we're recording. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to go ahead and unmute the LSC so you can all respond to the roll call. Give me 1 second here to find everybody. Anita, you're unmuted. Chad, you're unmuted. Goran, you're on here twice. Mary Kay. Laura Keeling. Lucia Estrada. Mr. G. I miss Chad. So you guys unmute yourselves, please. Okay, we've got Mary Kay, we've got Goran, we've got Chrissy, we've got me. We do not have Monica. We have Laura, we have Maria, we have Chad. So we don't have Marianne, we don't have Monica, and we don't have Chris Raguso. I know Chris Raguso is not attending. All right, Laura, do you want to take roll call?
Sure. Anita Bernacki.
Here.
Mary Kay Cobb.
Here.
Goran Davidovac.
Here.
Chrissy Estrada.
Here.
Kathy Fern.
Here.
Monica Moore is absent. Chad Nishibayashi.
Here.
Marianne Villasenor is also absent. Chris Raguso is absent. Laura Keeling, I'm here. Maria McDormand. She's there, she's waving, she can't unmute.
Let me unmute you. Okay, Maria, go ahead.
Here.
There you go.
Mark Gershaber.
Here.
And we also have Janine Hatab, who is our interim student rep.
She's a candidate.
Candidate, oh, apologize, okay. So she is not a part of
I will explain all that in a moment.
Okay, wonderful. So Madam Chairperson, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, thanks everybody for attending today. We appreciate it. Couple of announcements. Let me get my notes here. Okay. So yes, as we were speaking about the elections, here's what's going on with the elections. So they obviously had to be postponed from last March. We would have been elected to serve for a 2-year term starting on July 1st of this past July, and that would have been for a 2-year term. But everything was postponed, so now the new election date is November 19th for high schools, and they have reopened the applications to be accepted. So those of you that—
Kathy, you're freezing up. I can't understand anything you're saying.
Is it any better now? Tell me when it's better.
You're still freezing.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Could you go back to the new election date will be November? That's where you broke up, if you can hear me.
Thank you. Yes, I can. So what's weird is I can hear you guys just fine, but I know my internet connection keeps freezing up all day and I have to call Comcast. But yeah, so the new election day is November 19th, and that's during a report card pickup, which is not happening either. So the application period has now been reopened. So for those of you who have already applied to run for a seat on the LSC, your application is still good, but they are opening it up to anyone else who is interested. That application period closes on October 2nd at 3 o'clock. All the forms are online. You can Google it, or if you can't find it, send me an email. taftlsc@gmail.com. The forms have to be turned in hard copy in person to Taft Varsity Campus to Miss Hilda Diaz. So the process is she's usually at the school until 3. So if you're going to turn in an application, please get there before 3 so she has time to come meet you at the door, take your applications, take your IDs, make copies of everything, log it, and then return back to the door to give you back your IDs and copies of your application. Then we are going
Kathy, one more time, when's the election?
The election is November 19th. And it will be virtual, and I don't know any more details except for that right now. But we will also be setting up a virtual forum for candidates for the long-term LSC, the 2-year term. That'll happen between October 19th and 30th. And I'll send all this out in an email, you guys, so it's clear. But that's where we'll have our forum. We normally would have had it in person. I'm going to have to mute everybody again, sorry. It's very, very noisy. Hold on one second, let me mute everybody. Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Okay, so where was I? So we'll have a candidate forum between October 19th and 30th, one day, and that'll all be posted via the regular channels, where all the candidates will be asked to come and speak for a period of 2 minutes or so about themselves and why they're interested in becoming part of the LSC. And then we'll have an election. In the meantime, the people that were going to be leaving the LSC as of this last election had been asked to stay on the LSC until January of next year. So that until January 10th. So that includes Mr. Davidovic, both teachers, and we obviously don't have a student rep now because he's graduated and was no longer eligible. So we are now, Mr. Grishaber is handling the student election for a student rep that would be the interim rep. And we currently have 5 students that have applied for that position, and he is going to ask them each to record a short video about their interest in the LSC, and then the students are all going to vote on which person to elect for the interim position that would be only from now until January 10th. Then there would actually be a different election for the student rep that would take over for the remainder of the year. Anybody that's elected to the LSC in November of this year will be on the LSC until July 1st of 2022, because our terms are for 2 years. But it'll be a little bit shorter this year because of the postponement, and they're going to still end it on the same day in order to sync up the calendar again with the school year. All right, any questions about that? I did allow you guys to unmute yourselves if you have questions, to the LSC only, please. Okay. And those students that are currently running for, yes?
Kathy, it's Anita.
Hi, Anita.
So the people who are already.
You have a really bad connection like before. Can you chat your question?
Yeah, I'm trying to do something different.
Okay. I'm going to look through some of these chat questions here. Hold on. Yes, the elections will be held virtually. Okay. So Anita is typing her question. In the meantime, there's the 5 students that are currently running for the interim student position are Karis Kelly, Amelia Mano, Carmela Giglio, Sydney Hyan, and Jenin Hatab. Okay. And Anita is typing her question. Okay. What else? Okay. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Okay. Oh, and the LSC consists of, for those of you who don't know, the principal, 6 parent positions, either parents of Taft Varsity Campus or Freshman Academy parents, 2 community reps who do not have children in the school, 2 teacher reps, 1 staff member, and 1 student. So we have 13 members on a full LSC. And we've always operated pretty much with a full LSC. Okay, so Anita, do you still have a question? Okay, she said never mind. All right, so that's all the announcements I have. Let's move on to approving today's agenda. All the LSC members can unmute themselves. And can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I make a motion to approve today's agenda.
Maria, and we do have to do a roll call with every vote. Okay, can I get a second to approve the agenda?
I'll second, Kathy.
Chrissy?
Chrissy.
All right. Okay, Ms. Keeling, can you do a roll call for the vote?
Anita Bernacki,
She's going to another room. Come back to her.
okay, Mary Kay Cobb,
Yes.
Goran Davidovac,
Present.
So the answer is yes or no to approve the agenda.
I'm sorry. I didn't know
Sorry.
we were doing roll call. I thought we were doing roll call, right? Yes, approve. Thank you.
okay, Chrissy Estrada,
Approve.
Kathy Fern,
Approved.
Chad Nishibayashi,
Yes, to approve.
Laura Keeling, yes to approve, Maria McDormand,
Yes.
Mark Grishaber,
Yes.
Anita Bernacki,
Yes, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Me?
the ayes have it, Madam Chairperson.
All right, thank you. Okay, then you also have 3 sets of minutes to approve. They were all in the Google Drive. One is from our organizational meeting.
I make a motion to approve all the 3 minutes that we've been presented.
Okay, let me say what they were.
I'll second that.
Am I frozen again? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The meeting minutes, I want to just get this read into the recording. One is for the organizational meeting that happened on July 2nd. And one was for the special SRO meeting that was the public forum on July 21st. And the third is from the SRO special meeting to vote on the SROs from July 28th. Okay, we had Chrissy make a motion. And who is the second?
Yes, Laura second.
Laura.
I seconded.
All right, roll call for approving the
A
minutes.
roll call for all the votes.
And the roll call for the vote, Anita Bernacki,
Aye.
okay, Mary Kay Cobb,
Yes.
Yes to all 3.
Did you hear me?
yes, thank you, Anita. Goran Davidovac,
Yes.
Chrissy Estrada,
Yes.
Kathy Fern,
Yes.
Chad Nishibayashi,
Yes.
Laura Keeling, yes, Maria McDormand,
Yes.
Mark Grishaber.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you. All right, now we are to reports. Mr. Grishaber, you are up.
Okay.
Everybody
what I'm gonna
mute
try to do
yourself
is,
if you're not
I'm
talking.
going to read my principal report. If everybody can mute themselves, we can start to say. I'm going to give you a little bit of the presentation we gave to the new staff because a lot of where we're at right now is in this new presentation. So any of the teachers out there, it's going to be kind of a repeat these first 5 minutes, but bear with me because I think the LSC needs to know where we're at right now. So I'm going to put this on and I'm going to try sharing. Let's see if we can do this. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
What do you
Can
need, the principal
enable
report?
that, Kathy, or no?
You want the principal report?
I want to share a PowerPoint that we gave the teachers.
Oh, okay.
So it has some information for our LSC in it.
Hang on. How do I do?
Okay.
Let's see. Share screen. All right, try it now. Takes a minute to cook.
Yeah. Not yet.
All right, try it now. There we go.
Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So just a quick welcome back from Ms. Graca and Ms. Diaz in the main office. Let me see how I can do this then. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our APs. They've been working so hard lately, especially the last 3 weeks. I don't think any of them has put in anything less than a 12-hour day. And I'm talking about Saturdays and Sundays too. So just a great shout out to them. We have the hardest working team that I've ever been around. It's just amazing how tireless they are, and they make us all look good. So a quick shout out to all of them. I will just say this right now as a quick shout out. If you can see who I'm circling right here, can you see that?
Yep.
That's Miss Hess. Miss Hess will be having a baby Hess next March. So a little quick shout out for Miss Hess out there. She shared the news with everybody, and we are so happy. We were hoping we're just happy for her. Okay, let me move on. This is Taft by the numbers. People are asking me about numbers. Right now, I had 3993 as of yesterday, but now we're at about 3980. Okay, because some kids we had in the system, but they weren't part of our students. So right now we're at 3980. We are officially the 5th largest school in Illinois. We're the 2nd largest school in the 3rd largest school district in the United States. So I want to give people kind of an understanding about where we are. We are the largest IB school in Illinois. And I found this out last week. We're the 4th largest IB school in the world. Okay, so we are the 4th largest in the world. We have 223 teachers and 92 staff members. A couple of fun ones there. Taft is larger than the Illinois cities of Rosemont and Galena. The freshman, sophomore, and junior classes all have more students each than the population of Vatican City. So I just thought I'd put that in there. That's the old Catholic school teacher coming out of me. New Eagles, I'll just go real quick. I've got 28 right now. We are going to be at 32 by the end of the week because we did get approval for 3 other special ed teachers that we're going to interview. So again, we've been busy this summer. So a special shout out to our department chairs and some department members that have been coming in and helping us interview. We've gone through so many applications. But again, I'm not going to read all these. I'm just going to tell you what department they're in. So we've got Rebecca in language and literature. I will maybe try to have them come by one of the LSC meetings one of these months. Abigail Aspicia, language and lit. Sarah Gomez is our new IB coordinator, MYP coordinator. Fovio is language acquisition. Gina O'Neill is language and lit. Richard Farrell is diverse learners. Acadia is language acquisition. Christopher Siegel is diverse learners. Martin Soto is in the art department. Karina Maya is language acquisition. Miss Adler is counseling. Vivian Fernandez, counseling. John Berg is in science. Sarah Fritz, science. Jessica Bai, mathematics. Summer Lazar, mathematics. Michelle Saporito, mathematics. Emma Levine, language and lit. Maggie Madden, no relation to either of the Maddens we have at school, language and lit. Miss Marion in science. Abigail, individuals and societies. Anakin Morris, language and lit. Ariana Dixon, language acquisition. Raven Haynes, art department, special plug. She's a Whitney Young grad. Knew her when she was at Whitney Young, so I feel kind of a special bond with Raven. Another one of our teachers, Miss Lewis, is also a Whitney Young Dolphin. So we've got some Dolphins invading our nation, but that's good. That they're good people. Caitlin Casey, language acquisition. And then we have a couple others that we don't have the stuff for, but they're in the pipeline right now. Cami is diverse learners. Katie, language acquisition, and Devorah is in science. We probably went through 1,500 applications this year. And so I just want everybody to know these teachers are the best of the best. We are getting really great applications to where I wouldn't want to interview against any of them. These are all stars. Everybody wants to be at Taft right now because they know we're growing. We're going to level off in a couple of years, but right now we're not shrinking, where a lot of people don't want to apply at schools where they may not have a job next year, but the buzz is out there. People want to be at Taft High School. So we are getting the best of the best people applying. So we've got a great group of 2020 coming in, 32 teachers. I think that's the biggest hire since I've been here at Taft. Some Eagles leaving the nest. We got 3 retirements. Ms. Carlson, Mary Janicek, and Grace are all retired. I kind of feel bad for them that they didn't get their speech at the end of the year. I think everybody's earned that speech and they've earned that standing ovation, but they didn't get to do it this year. So we're going to miss them. Some people that are leaving, Lisette in our diverse learners, Kayla Jaffe, she's an alumni, Annie Martinez and George Martinez. Annie was our newspaper and our yearbook. They're going down to Houston to be with their family. Both of them are moving down there. So you guys know that my priorities are God, family, and school. So I can't argue with that at all. They're happy to be reuniting with their family. Gretchen Rhodes is leaving. Chloe is leaving. Mr. Taba is leaving, and Yali Zhang is leaving. So those are all, people moving on. I want Eagles to go where they want to go. But considering we have 220 teachers, we're looking at less than 4% are as a turnover rate, and that's unheard of even in the business world. So I think that's testament to the fact that we're doing something right. People, when they come to Taft, they like to stay at Taft. Some new roles and responsibilities. Ms. Chander is going to be in the science department. Ms. Dallier, language and lit coordinator at the TFA. Mr. Duarte, a dean, is now going in the counseling department. Ms. Francic, former dean, is now going into the INS department. Ms. Lane is going to be our science department coordinator at the TFA. Ms. Lynch, our librarian, is going to be in the diverse learner department. Mr. Madden is going into physical education. Ms. Rusek is going to take Ms. Chavez's spot. And Mr. Will is going to be the chairperson of language and lit. So those are people that are moving on. And that's it. So let me get out of this one now. I'll stop sharing. Okay, now I want to go over here. I want to share this one. Kathy, can we see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me do the principal report. So again, we talked about 1,500 applications, 29 teachers, but that's now 32. We secured funding from CPS for an additional 260 additional students. We needed those because we cannot open up a teaching position unless we have the money to fund it. And so they were generous enough to understand that we needed those new teachers, or the money to hire all those new teachers. We distributed 150 new laptops to our teachers and staff. Last year, our freshman academy all got brand new laptops, but the teachers that were at the varsity campus had the old ones from about 4 or 5 years ago. So they needed to get replenished, which we did. And so that was much appreciated. We had 3 days of professional development with our teachers and staff. We talked about grading practices, remote learning expectations, guidelines, and instructional priorities. I'm letting the LSC know. I've had the conversation with the PPC and the PPLC about our grading practices. I'm supposed to I'm supposed to get a consensus, which means we discuss it, but I'll just raise it right now and we can always discuss it later, that our new grading policy, it's going to change a little bit. Our new low score is still going to be 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, 60 to 69 is a D, and now 50 to 59 is an F, okay? The F is not gonna go down to 0 anymore. We're not giving zeros anymore as a school. It was when we did the numbers this year, and you ran the numbers, the kids that were getting hurt from our grading scale was our diverse learners, our English language learners, our Black students, and our Hispanic students. Were all failing at a higher rate than anybody else in the building. So we thought it was incumbent upon us to change it to a low of a 50%. And again, the theory is that it's 10-point data. Every one of those A's, B's, and C has 10 points. An F should not have 60 points and actually bury kids. So I'm just letting you know that that's going to be our new expectation this year. That should be introduced. 2 new MYP coordinators, Mr. Mikula, who was already with us, and then Ms. Gomez, Sarah Gomez, who I just showed you, program 3,980 students with a new online setup. That's our APs. I know they all had a little bit to do with it. Mr. Kuzma and everybody is working on it, all the APs. But again, we did it online this year, which is going forward, it's really gonna help us out. And then we had an ISB audit, a desk audit, and we passed it with flying colors. They just come in and kind of check some of our financials to see what they were doing everything okay, but that was never in question.
Our question?
The next one is made a decision. I told everybody I canceled the summer conditioning. I did not feel it was safe for our students. And considering we didn't have the Illinois State Board and the Illinois State Medical Association, they couldn't even agree on what was safe anymore. And I didn't want to put my kids out there as guinea pigs. I didn't think that the conditioning was that important in the grand scheme of things to put even one kid and one teacher or coach at risk. So we canceled it. We reviewed AP and IP test results. Those numbers are real huge. I'll have some more a deeper dive on that at the next meeting. I didn't want to go too into it, but we're looking really good on both of those. 315 students completed online credit recovery, which is one of the highest in CPS. I put one of the highest. I think we are the highest, but I'm giving benefit of the doubt that someone else might be up there. But a lot of kids took our credit recovery, so much so that our SQRP number this year, as far as 4-year graduation rates, went up from 84% to, I believe, 87%. So in that category, if SQRP was still being calculated, we would have been at a 5. We would have 5 points on that. I believe we would have also had 5 points on freshmen on track, because the last numbers we had last year was 85%. I believe this year, calculating our numbers, we were at about 96%. So I think we would have gotten 5 points. I'm really a little bit, a little bit aggravated because I think this was the year we were gonna drop the mic at a 1+. But you know what? It's out there, and we'll grab it next year.
That's right.
We added an 11th counselor to lower our counselor loads. And again, I just talked to you about the no zero policy with the 50% being the lowest. But if you wanted to talk about that more, we can. This is the thing that Ryan really delved into as far as DocuSign goes. This is a game changer. Before, we could hardly get all of our parents to do the free and reduced lunch forms and the health forms. Now you have to do it if you want to register. And so I think that this is gonna give us $400,000 a year in extra CIWP income going forward. The fact that now it can be DocuSign. Other schools are looking at us saying, "Oh my God, this is a game changer. Way to go, Taft. Way to go, Ryan." I already told them they will not pick you up downtown. You are not allowed to be swooped up by CPS. They would love to have, I think they'd love to have all of my assistant principals or our assistant principals, but he knows he's here for the long run. We distributed 800 Chromebooks to families in need. It's kind of weird how the cards played out. Like last year, the last couple of years, we needed to spend the end of the year money. So we wanted to do capital improvements, but we had to do Chromebooks because we were kind of put in a bind, and now this year we actually needed them. So it kind of worked out well the way everything happened. We continued to issue free breakfasts and lunches to neighborhood families in need. I read a couple of books there, really good books. And I didn't put it on there. I just read a book on Rob Lowe, but nobody cares about that, but it was kind of a good book. So that's that. Let me get the other thing I want to
There was one question in the chat. Let's back up just a little bit. Who is the athletic director? I know Mr. Madden was that person, so now that position's not filled.
Mr. Glowitz is handling that right now, since we only have a couple of sports going right now, and we really needed Mark in the classrooms to lower the numbers a little bit. So right now, I know Ryan's got a lot of plates spinning, but I think once we get past this first wave of getting all the kids in classes and stuff, it'll lighten up a little bit, and he'll be able to handle the athletic directors. He's done it before. He can do this with a few sports and not really ordering buses right now as much as we did. I think that's a doable task. So I feel confident Ryan can do that.
Okay, and then I had a question on the grading.
Yes.
So if a student gets a 49, what does that mean? I didn't understand what you meant, that there's no zeros anymore. I didn't quite follow that. And I'm frozen, aren't I?
Yeah. So I think I get the gist of your question. The lowest anybody can get is a 50% on it. So if it was a 100-point test or a 100-point assignment and you bombed it or you didn't even turn it in, you get 50% on it, 50 points. A lot of people are going, wait a minute, how come we're giving points for them doing nothing? And that's what the question we get. You actually are giving them an F, but the F is 10 points lower than any other score. If you give them a 0, it buries them going forward, and the kids feel helpless. I'll give you just a quick example. If a kid got a 0 and the next test he got, let's say he aced it and he got an A, what grade do you think he would have in that class? I mean, just theoretically right now. He had an A and an F. What grade, if the course ended right there, what do you think he'd get? I think everybody right now would go, probably a C, right? It's kind of like right in the middle, right? It's not the way it works when you have a 0%. They get an F. What if they took another test and got a B on it? What grade do you think they'd get? Well, let's see, an F, a B, and an A, surely that would be a C. No, it's an F, because that 0% F weighs them down so heavily that they find a hard time digging out of it. So mathematically, it makes sense. It's a cultural shift from a lot of our teachers to understand right now, but I think the majority get it, and they understand it right now. The easiest thing would have been to go down to a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 scale, because it correlates with our GPA. But again, I think people are really into like the 100%, 90%, 80% as parents and teachers, okay? Eventually where we want to get it is into IB grading, to where you can have a bunch of zeros and C's and D's, but on your summative, if you get an A, you get the A. You mastered it, you move on. Okay, you got the A, let's move on. We're not gonna have everything weighing you down. You've mastered the task at hand, and we can move forward. So that's eventually where we want to get. Long-winded answer to your question, Kath.
Thank you.
Let me, I think I have something else on here. Oh, Kathy, do you want to share the budget transfers and all that with everybody so we can vote on those?
The sheet, sure. Hang on. Okay.
Okay, so we went over this with the budget already, the budget committee, but I will redo it with everybody. We have school expenditures more than $10,000. Murphy and Jones, it says carpet installation. What that really should be is we're getting rid of the carpet in the library. We're putting tile down in the library because it's deplorable in there. And it's going to cost us $23,000. It's going to look really nice. We did the main office, we did the forum, and now it's time we do the library. And then we're going to reconfigure the library to make it more of a media center with computers. And I see it more like kids going there with phone charging stations and areas that they can sit and talk with each other. So that's the first step right there with the floor. I'm not asking for anything for the physical therapy yet. That's an $18,000 bill. I still want to see where that bill came from. If that's from the fall of last year, I know we're getting a lot of these bills in late, then I don't have a problem with it. But if it's from the spring, I'm going to have an issue with it, and I want to call ATI. Because if we had no sports in the spring, I don't think we should be paying $18,000. But I want to see exactly where that bill came from. So I'm going to table that till next year. We did have some budget transfers. The first one, $20,000. We had to add some teacher benefit lines. Sometimes when the school year starts, we have a mature faculty. A lot of our teachers have been here more than 10 years. So the good point is they bring that knowledge and wisdom and they know their craft to the building. But on the negative side to it, they're a little expensive, which is not a bad thing. But sometimes it comes around and gets you. And so a lot of their benefits went up a little bit when you have a more mature staff. So we needed to subsidize one of our benefit lines that took care of a lot of things. And that could have been health insurance. It could have been dental. It could have been life insurance, whatever. I mean, so we needed to replenish that one. The next one, we needed $2,000 to offset the negative for an ESP and teacher line. And I believe that one was for just overtime, just regular overtime. The next one we had was opening a teacher position. And so you're looking at $59,000. And I know what you're saying, Mark, the cheapest, and I don't want to use cheap, the least expensive teacher you can possibly hire is an $80,000 teacher. And that's the truth. That would be a teacher that comes in with a college degree and has not taught before. Their starting salary is about $55,000, $56,000. And then you have about $25,000 in benefits. So it is about an $80,000 a year teacher. So how are you opening a teacher position with $59,000? We already had money in that line. So we just needed to give some more in there so we could buy a new teacher position. So it's not that teachers is not expensive. It is. It's just that we had some in there. And then again, any new teacher you hire, their benefits are going to be $25,000. We needed to add $11,000 to boost that line a little bit to take into account of the teacher. Next one, we had $8,000 for teacher stipends. One of these stipends was for a teacher last year that did not receive their stipend, and he was really good about it but impatient. But we needed to give him his stipend, and I'll take that one again. If we raise $1 million, that's I'll take a little credit on that. But if we don't have toilet paper in a stall, that's my problem because it's the school. So I'll take that hit. But we're gonna pay them their stipend, and then we also have stipends for our music department and a couple other teachers that helped out with the spring plays. But before everything got canceled. Then we have $4,500 to add teachers ESP and technology bucket. I believe that was for summer overtime. We had a lot of them coming, helping us with our computers, and Ms. Grockett and Ms. Diaz were there, and some other ESP. We needed 2 more positions, an art and science position. Again, we need more money than that, but some was in there already, so we needed to add $45,000. Book transfers, Park Community Church paid us in advance about $18,000, but again, we canceled on them, so we're going to give that money back. That's the right thing to do. It's not like they're walking out on us. We canceled on them, so we're going to give them their $18,000 back. And then the Math Kangaroo is really about $375. They had, I think they had the auditorium booked, and that was their down payment, so we're going to give that back. And the last one is $24,500. That's an old bill from the spring or winter that we needed to pay. A lot of times the COVID kind of shut everything down, and bills were coming in later, so we need to pay that one. So that is our budget transfers and bills above $10,000. Any questions on this one?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget transfers as listed with the amendments to the verbiage for carpet installation to have removal of carpet and tile installation, and to omit the ATI physical therapy request.
For those of you online with the general meeting, we did have a budget meeting that immediately preceded this meeting where we talked about these items at length. So that's why there would probably not be too many questions right now. So we have a motion on the table to approve the budget as Chrissy explained. Do we have a second? Can all of the LSC unmute yourselves, please?
Fern Free, is that what's happening?
Say again?
Say it again, Gordon. I can't hear you.
Is Mrs. Fern freezing? I didn't hear the last part of that.
I
Yeah,
think
I
she
know.
is freezing. I made a motion to approve with the, amendments I listed. I think Anita maybe seconded my thing for me.
Yes, I'm going to second the motion.
And then we need a roll call vote, Ms. Keeling?
And then we'll need to do a vote. I'm not sure if she's still frozen. But Laura, if you want to do the roll call.
I will start the roll call vote. Anita Bernacki,
Yes.
Mary Kay Cobb. Was that a yes for Mary Kay?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Goran Davidovec,
Yes.
Chrissy Estrada,
Yes.
Kathy Fern,
Yes.
Chad Nishibayashi,
Yes.
Laura Keeling, yes. Maria McDormand,
Yes.
and Mark Grishaber.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we can move on to our committee reports. We'll start with the Budget Finance Committee, Mrs. Strada.
The Budget and Finance Committee met before this. We discussed any items at length. There were no further questions at this time.
Great. Facilities, Mr. Gusso cannot be with us today and I'm unstable again. Lord. Can you guys hear me now? Am I back? Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Ms. Fern, you're breaking in and out, just so you
I know, my
Am I the only
internet
one who hears her
connection
breaking in and out?
No, she is.
My-
Maybe Mr. G, you could just go through a few things.
On the facilities?
Yeah, just to help her out.
Just a very,
Yeah, I'll
very
help you out. I mean, we talked a little bit
Yeah.
about facilities right now. A couple of big things. We're waiting for that parking lot, the driver's ed lot. Pardon?
go ahead.
Should I continue with facilities?
Yes.
Okay, good. The big ones are driver's ed. We've already given them $45,000. We're waiting for CPS, the Sports Administration, to give the other 45 so we can get the lot done. A couple of big ones. All the lights are now working around the campus. We had some issues about that, but all the lights are working right now. What else is good? We've got a couple of things that we're waiting to talk about as far as CPS helping us out. The one thing I did mention to everybody, I did talk about getting the grass done on the varsity field. It was going to be like either $18,000 for sod or $10,000 if we planted seed. We're going to call a timeout on that right now because I didn't know whether or not we'd have anybody on the grass. But right now, I don't think sod is a good idea. If we do go with it, I think that we're going to go with grass seed. I think grass seed in late fall is the best time to plant it. So I think we can get off a little cheaper, and I think it's actually going to be better. I think if we would have put sod out there in the summertime, I think that heat wave that we had would have really destroyed it. I want to apologize to everybody. I had 27 teeth removed, so I feel like I'm talking with cotton in my mouth. So if I sound like I'm a little loopy out there, it's really not me. I'm just getting used to these new teeth. So that's about it in facilities. We're going to come up with a facility list. We're going to talk about the Black Box Theater, the gymnasium as far as climate control, some locker rooms that need to get done, and some landscaping that needs to get done. The freshman field, I believe, is going to get ready in the springtime. And I think that the sidewalk at the freshman academy, I believe he said it was done, I believe. So with that,
Moving forward.
yeah. And the custodians really are amazing. They really are. It's, I haven't had too many compliments about Aramark in the last couple of years, but this crew we've got right now really is clicking on all cylinders. And the building looks fantastic. Again, we don't have any kids on campus, but everything looks sparkling right now. So they're doing a great side. So that's facilities.
All right.
Looking at the chat right now, what was about grass? Grass seed is highly recommended by my brother-in-law. Okay. That's from Ms. Hess. Okay.
Okay, good, thank you. Facilities, safety and security, Ms. McDormand.
Yes, safety and security, we met today at 2:30. Ms. Hinman gave us some updates. There's not a heck of a lot just because of school not being in session in the building. Right now we have 14 security officers. They're helping out with other tasks just so that we can keep them on board. They're checking perimeters. They're around for the food distribution, Chromebook distribution, just trying to give them some tasks to keep them from getting laid off. They're working with the union, with the SEIU, to get an approval for security to do other tasks to keep them on. So I know Mr. G was asking if anybody had any ideas, or Ms. Hinman was asking to, you know, put those in. The part-time officer is starting today. He's also helping with food distribution and Chromebook distribution, especially at the Freshman Academy. Hiring another officer is on hold now since there's no in-school. We pay for security. CPS pays for the rest. If they do any layoffs, it's based on seniority. And we need at least, someone asked how many we needed as a minimum to at least cover both campuses, and that would be 4 to 5 as a minimum. If there were to be any layoffs, we would get the officers back. They are on a recall list, but again, we're trying to avoid any layoffs. And the last thing Ms. Hinman says, we will be getting behavior reports going forward. I think that was pretty much all of it.
Okay, thank you. As we're going to keep moving forward, but I just wanted to say ahead of time now, if you'd like to participate in the public participation portion, please put your name in the chat along with your representation if you're a teacher, a student, a parent, a community member, and then we will get to those when we get to that period of time. Okay, Friends of Taft, Ms. Bernacki.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me. I do not have a report from the Alumni Association. There's just a lot going on right now for the.
Okay, you're frozen. Boy, we're all having fun today, aren't we? John Petraska is here.
Sophomore this year. She has many years of experience leading and participating in these.
Anita, if you can hear me, we can't really get every sentence you're saying. Mr. Prochaska is on. I'm going to put him on, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Prochaska, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. We gave out 4 $1,000 scholarships to graduating seniors. Due to a number of illnesses and injuries and deaths in the family, Ann Lundy literally was out of service for almost 2 years. And we now are set up to have our meetings using Zoom starting in 2 weeks. So we have a lot of things to catch up on, but we're still there. We have a couple of alumni, including one with a PhD in mathematics that look like they're going to be joining the board. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, perfect. Anita, if there's anything else you want to include, can you put it in the chat? I'm also going to go to Lynn Johnson for a PTSA update.
Hey, Kathy, before you do, I forgot to add 2 things real quick to the principal report. Can I just add it real quick?
Yep.
But number 1, if anybody on the LSC did not get a yearbook from last year and you would like one, please email me and give me your address and we'll mail you out one, okay? Number 2 is, I failed to say it, but we are going to lower the fees this year. I made mention to it last LSC meeting, but we're going to lower the fees from $450 to $300 for each family. Okay, we are going to put that email out to all the families in about a week. The reason why we didn't do it right away, we were waiting for guidance from CPS onto what we could do, and we finally did get the approval that we can ask for fees. And like I did explain to the budget committee, if we don't get fees in, that will grind us to a halt on a lot of things that we need. So it's important, and I think it's a 1-year fix. I made it quite clear in the email, in the fee letter that we're going to send out. It's for 1 year only, and then we'll go back to 450, which we've been at 450 the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. But for this year only, to help out families, we do have some lower costs associated, lower expenses associated with online learning, but we still do have expenses. So for this year only, it's going to go to 300. Okay, thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Okay, Lynn, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, Anita wants to say something.
Can Lynn read the report, please?
Yep.
Can it Lynn read the report? Because obviously
I can't hear that.
Yep, we're good. I'm going to go ahead and, okay, go ahead, Lynn.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lynn Johnson. I'm the treasurer of the Parent Teacher Student Association board. And so we are getting ready to restart our new team. We have 4 folks who are running for board positions. And you'll see that Trent was kind enough to send out a notice to the entire Taft community that listed the 4 candidates. So we will have folks running for new positions for a board president, vice president. I'm running for re-election as board treasurer, and our secretary, Lisa Garner, is running for another term as well. So we're going to have a Google Meet next Wednesday evening and run an election for that. And of course, we're going to also inviting folks if they want to run for election to let me know. We have a new Gmail account for the PTSA. We're going to have a Twitter account. We're going to be a really dynamic, energetic group going into the next year. So hopefully we'll have enthusiastic support for the new team, and please join the Google Meet so that we can have a really robust group of folks weighing in and then onward. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Lynn. All right. Athletics, Mr. Nietzsche.
You know what?
Yeah.
Sorry, Kathy.
Yes.
Kathy, can I also make one more comment?
Yes.
So we've gotten, you mentioned this to me via email, we've got a lot of interest in folks wanting to know how they can either renew their PTSA membership or start new. And so I just saw it pop up on the chat. So the old way of doing it was to fill out a paper form and then put the form in an envelope with your dues in the PTSA box in the office. So that's so old school. We'll still keep the old school version. We have a new form you can fill out, and if you and what we're going to ask people to do is mail those things into the mailbox. But the Illinois PTA is offering a new online membership drive option. I just need to get access to that and get that up and running to make that happen. So we're going to do that. And then also, we know we're waiting. Well, this is what I've heard from the communication, waiting for communication from the Chicago public school system about how online fees are going to be paid, because last year, new parents were able to pay their PTSA membership dues through that portal. And so we're waiting for instruction of what that's going to look like. So it could be the portal, old school mail, or an online membership drive. So that's what we're working for. So please, everybody stay tuned, and we're going to try to get that in order as quickly as we can.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Let's see. We've got people. Okay, now we can go to athletics. Mr. Nishibayashi.
So I didn't hold a formal meeting. As you already heard, Mark Madden is no longer the athletic director, and Ryan Glowitz has taken over that position. I just personally figured it probably wasn't a good idea to bother Ryan so early in the year with only 4 sports going on. So basically all that's happening right now is the non-contact sports are taking place, golf, cross country, boys and girls for both. And I believe believe tennis was also
Yeah.
one of those sports that were listed. So those are the ones that are currently taking place, but nothing new as of yet.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Levin said some things about that in facilities, so that was pretty much what he said too. Okay, that's that. And then we've got PPLC. Do you have anything for that? Did you guys meet? Am I frozen again?
Oh, poor Kathy.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, PPLC, if there is any.
Okay, so there is quite a bit here. I actually was not able to attend the meeting, but I do have the notes from that from the meeting. So we'll start off with budget. The recommendation for school purchase of remote learning licenses, including Pear Deck and Padlet. So these are just resources for remote learning. Mr. Grishaber said he asked ILT members for input, and then Mrs. ILT requests seemed to be more departmental, and we as a PPLC were more interested as a school-wide licensure. So we weren't interested necessarily in each individual department, but actually having it available for the entirety of the school. Ms. Taylor also noted that premium features of Pear Deck were available through CPS in the spring, but wouldn't be going forward. Mr. Grishaber agreed to consider budgeting for remote learning tools, specifically Pear Deck.
Chad, I did sign that check for Pear Deck today, so it's on its way.
Awesome, sounds good, thank you.
Yeah.
So the next part on the budget is recommendation to pay for school committees to meet after school for both campuses, such as Freshmen on Track, etc. So one of the things that was mentioned in our meeting was just having the opportunity to have a Freshmen on Track team that would meet after school. And one of the reasons was because we weren't finding enough time during the house meetings to really go over that information, or some teachers weren't available to be there to really discuss it. So one of the things that we suggested was having an after school committee. Mr. Grishaber said that he would ensure that all committees would know whether there were compensation or if it was volunteer. So if we are going to do something in the future, there would be some type of agreement. With regard to Freshmen on Track, Mr. Grishaber noted that house meeting structures took care of Freshmen on Track needs, but Mr. Wilson said that PPLC saw a need for more collaborative environments, and the house meetings tended to be admin-led, top-down. So again, just kind of reiterating some of the things that I already said. Ms. Taylor added that there wasn't always enough time to attend to house issues with the way meetings were run, and there could be more TFA campus-wide collaboration regarding Freshmen on Track measures. She also pointed out that there was such committees for sophomores and juniors. So there is something available at the varsity campus. We just want to continue to have our own committee at the Freshman Academy as well. Okay, that was the last budget item. Next, we'll go into curriculum. So recommendations to form a joint PPLC committee to address remote hybrid learning practices, COVID-19 practices. Mr. Grishaber expressed opposition to having a separate committee for remote hybrid learning practices, stating that staff members could address PPC and PPLC groups separately on issues pertaining to the subject. Most items fall under purview of PPLC, he said, and Mr. Wilson and Ms. Taylor stressed the importance of admin collaboration with staff members on unpacking remote hybrid learning directives from districts. So Mr. Wilson put together a working document to start this committee, which would be a combination of PPC and PPLC. The reason that it was brought up that they would be jointed was because there were some overlapping issues that both could pursue. So that was the reasoning for putting them together as far as a joint committee. Plus it gives us more of an opportunity to collaborate with more teachers. So that was one reason. But again, we covered it the way that it was covered in the meeting.
Chad, I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? Can you explain
Mhm.
the difference between a PPC and a PPLC for those who do not know?
PPC is more union-based issues, whereas PPLC is more the curriculum, CIWP, and budget issues. That would probably be the easiest way to kind of define the two.
Yeah, and one more thing, Chad, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the PPLC is a state mandate, where the PPC is a Chicago Teacher Union's directive. Two separate entities.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, again, so I'm sure I probably am not doing the conversation that much justice. Again, I was not available for the meeting, but you know, it is what it is at this point.
Going good.
Recommendations. So moving forward, recommendations to form a CARE committee for anti-racist education. Discussion about whether works by Ms. Rachel Nicholas and John Cohen was already satisfying the committee needs. So these two teachers have already kind of put together something and been discussing. Mr. Wilson, Mr. Velasquez, and Ms. Nicholas, among others, noted that this would be an ongoing committee to evaluate and address 4 district spheres of opportunity to implement anti-racist measures. Professional development, curriculum and instructional practices, student culture and climate, and staffing. The discussion included course offerings. So just to kind of add on to that, as a teacher, we had during last week's professional development, we had an opportunity to listen in on on a presentation from these handful of teachers that were mentioned, as well as a few others that basically spoke to us about how we feel and how we kind of how we feel about dealing with the situations that if we are comfortable about speaking in front of the class with it, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty much just trying to gauge a better understanding of who's comfortable and who's not comfortable, it felt like, from my perspective. There were multiple sessions, so it could have been different in each session, but that was what I gathered from what I was experiencing. So again, back to what I was discussing. The discussion included course offerings, which Mr. Grishaber cautioned that it could be a Band-Aid measure that doesn't really address the content of classes. Ms. Taylor said that this would be both a solution in which the committee would look at big picture items, and that the course offerings would otherwise be part of larger strategies. Mr. Grishaber agreed to move forward with the CARE committee so as long as it had open meetings monthly. Ms. Nicholas and Mr. Wilson agreed to chair. So it appears that the CARE committee will move forward and will eventually push on some of these matters that need to be handled from their perspective. All right, moving on. Recommendations to establish classes for school year 2021-2022. So this was something that was mentioned just above, that shows intentional efforts to offer alternative courses that will still meet graduation requirements, including Latin American literature, Latin American history, multicultural literature. Ms. Vera said it was important to have students in counseling aware that the lit courses could be taken in place of English 3 or English 4 to meet the graduation requirement. They would not have to do multiple language and lit courses. So basically what that means is you can take one of these classes in place of English 3 or in place of English 4. So instead of taking English 3 or English 4, a student maybe would want to do Latin American literature, can replace their English 3 credit with that. So that's kind of how to explain that. Ms. Villasenor noted that there must be enough students to offer such classes. Mr. Wilson said that, Mr. Wilson said that if we are only getting a handful of students, 10 to 20 out of 750 to sign up, that's a problem, which I agree with, especially when our student body is a large majority of them are Latino. So that would be a really big issue. Mr. Grishaber suggested that we collect more information from students on what courses they're interested in instead of doing it backwards with having teachers propose new classes and trying to dump on interest. It was decided that there should be intentional efforts to recruit students to such courses as proposed. So teachers need to reach out to students, the student body, in order to create these particular classes so you can gain more interest. So moving on, Ms. Vera also recommended that school return the Black Lives Matter banner to Mr. Kuzma confirmed that Black Lives Matter statement had added to motto section beneath banner images. Mr. Grishaber said he wanted to show student life. Ms. Vera recommended that BLM banner be part of the rotation of images. Mr. Grishaber said he would contact Mr. Eaton to make that happen. So I honestly haven't paid any attention to the TAF website. I did know that it was there. I'm unaware. I'm sure that it was taken care of. But again, I don't check that website as often as I should, I guess. Recommendations to create a Google spreadsheet for teachers who require document cameras for instruction. So this is for going forward into our remote learning for teachers that needed extra support. Mr. Levin said these recommendations were being addressed. Teachers who need equipment can request it. More info about distribution pending guidance from CPS. So obviously we really can't do much until CPS allows us to do something. All right, almost done. Going down to CIWP, recommendation that there be differentiated education for tech tools for staff PD, giving staff more options. So this is more for the teachers having more professional development on different tech tools. Recommend one more PD session be self-directed, research subject-specific remote learning resources. Ms. Greenblatt said that there would be time for small group directed and self-directed as part of TCT block time during the weeks, as well as Friday's independent day of prep. So a lot of this stuff is obviously geared towards our last week where we had all meetings from Tuesday to Friday. So this is pretty much what this is kind of going over and giving us the opportunity as teachers to do our own research for what works best for us. However, CPS did send out some apps that were only allowed to be used by CPS. So we also have to kind of follow in the guidelines of what they offer as well. Moving on to the next one, recommendation for collaboration with student-led curriculum, CIWP group. Ms. Nicholas said that another round of invitations would be sent out to students for the group. Some students responded to requests in the spring, but could still use more. It was suggested that these students contribute to discussion of course offerings. So, sorry, there's a student-led group that will discuss curriculum as well that will also incorporate their opinions on what courses should be offered moving into the future. So another teacher and student collaboration moving forward with that. We did have some public participation. Ms. Taylor questioned how CPS was using the term asynchronous, given that it seemed all instructional time was simultaneous. She wondered whether the asynchronous time could be included before live sessions, pushing the start of live school to 9 a.m. To better suit the students' needs. Mr. Kuzma said that schools were tethered to the bell schedule as voted upon in the spring, though considerations of the learning were made. So pretty much basically we voted on a schedule. CPS said we need to stick to that schedule and there's no altering it. So that was the main reason why we were doing what we're doing at this point. So Mr. Grishaber said that the network chief, Dr. Lamone, said TAF schedule mirrored that of other schools, and that the 15-minute period between live sessions would alleviate concerns of staggered logins. Okay, so that's just to alleviate late and tardiness and giving the students the ability to move freely from one Google Meet to the next without having to stare at the computer the entire day. So the way our classes were broken up is 40 minutes of synchronous and 10 minutes of asynchronous. And that's, I mean, this is the first day, but it went really well in my opinion. All right. Ms. Zomlowski asked about parent outreach and wanted to make sure staff wasn't forced to give out personal numbers. Mr. Levins said that instruction for using Google Voice would be part of the training that we received last week. Mr. Grishaber added that grading initiatives were essential to having equity for DL, EL, and other students. The common syllabus is a part of that to reduce confusion for students and families. We were given a syllabus, a template that we could use as each department to fill in for our syllabus to, again, make it more uniform. Ms. Hess posted that admin would be sharing the template, but Ms. Greenblatt said the common syllabi would be developed by TCTs. Mr. Wilson asked about missing assignments. Is there a way to track missing assignments while accurately reflecting the grade and avoiding having it count as a 0? Mr. Grishaber said that admin team was working with the district on that measure. So we still, I'm not sure if we really got a fine answer on that. Mr. Grishaber invited PPLC members to welcome new teachers to the new teacher orientation that was held on Monday. He said more info will be sent out. So I definitely got an invite to that. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it. And then meeting was adjourned. So finally, we're done.
Chad, could I request that you send an emailed copy of everything you just said to Kathy Fern and myself? Thank you so very much. I think my hand cramped halfway through.
Oh, so I didn't see a folder in the email, and that was the reason why it wasn't. I was going to put it in here before the meeting started, but I didn't see a folder in the link for the folder in the email for this Zoom meeting. So it
just needs to go into the Google Drive that we all have access to as the LSC. And
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, just the regular September Drive would be great. Am I frozen again?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you could resend that, I don't know, I can't find it for some reason. Obviously there's a lot of Google things going on here with school and everything. So.
Okay, it's in your shared, if you're on your Google screen, but we can figure that out later. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chad, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, we do not have a student representative report because we do not have a student quite yet. So we would like to welcome the students that are running for the LSC for the interim position. And now we will get to, I know there was a question on the chat. Colette O'Day said, why did the school schedule move away from blocks to hourly classes? I know it's early, but it seems like there isn't much downtime to take care of work. That's her first question, Mr. G.
Okay, I think I see the question here. I can answer that. Let me see, it was from
Colette O'Day.
Right, it was from Colette. Okay, a couple of questions. Why did the school schedule move away? You want me to answer that question, Kathy?
Yes.
Should I answer Colette's question? I'm gonna go for it. So Colette, the reason why we moved away from block was with Chad kind of mentioned it to us. We were locked into the schedule that we had voted on in the springtime. So we needed to have a 1 through 8 period. Although it would have been nice to be able to do like we did in the springtime, we weren't given that option. But as far as like no downtime to take care of work, you know, we've got that big, the big word, I forget how to say it. It's,
asynchronous.
Yeah, asynchronous. So the way we've done it is every class is 50 minutes. The first 40 minutes is going to be the teacher teaching and leading the discussion. And then they have the last 10 minutes for themselves, and then also 5 minutes, if you could call that a passing period. So we thought the 15 minutes in between was enough to kind of just rejuvenate. I mean, there was no way we wanted to just give everybody 5 minutes and then you do that for 6 hours. That's just too much. It is a lot with just 15 minutes in between, but that's better than not having that at all. So that's why we could not do a block schedule, Colette. I hope that answers your question.
And then she also asked a question about driver's ed, or specifically.
Colette was also asking about driver's ed and more specifically range. When will it be active again?
No word right now from CPS. CPS has not given us any word. It's amazing. That's one of the #1 emails I get from everybody. A big thank you out to Gil, who's helping me vet a lot of those questions. I feel bad for one of our students that is like right there to get their license, and then this thing whole hit. So right now we have no word from CPS or sports administration, who runs the department. So we're just waiting for that. As soon as we get it, like I'm telling everybody, keep an eye on the website. Everybody read your Monday emails, and as soon as we know, you'll know the next day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on to old business. Any old business? Make sure you guys can hear me. Wave if you can hear me. Okay, good. All right, no old business. Any new business? Wave if you can hear me. Okay, no new business. All right, we're on public participation. We have one person. Mr. Wilson, you have 2 minutes. Let me, are you unmuted or do I have to unmute you? Hold on, let me find you. Okay,
there you are, I think.
Yep, you're good, go ahead.
Okay, hi, I'm Brian Wilson. I'm a teacher. Just 2 things. One, one with the PPLC, the Taft CARES, we did actually already meet do our initial meeting for that anti-racist educators group. We'll meet on the third Tuesday of every month, and so we'll get information out about that. For that. So thank you for those supporting that, and we look forward to more teachers and students being part of that as we go forward. The other note, and I don't necessarily want a long debate about it, but I think the note that I'd want to say is that I think we need, as much as we recognize that people are doing long hours with working on the programming and that there's a lot of people involved with that, we really need to look at overall, how can we make it more efficient going forward, and in a way that makes sure that that students are at the levels and getting the choices that they want. We know that there are highly irregular circumstances for programming this year, with needing to program pods for the possibility of hybrid learning. But it still seems like we're hearing as teachers and as a parent, I'm hearing from others, just a lot of kids that are placed at levels that just don't necessarily seem right, or that there's a push in different places, and a lot of choice that has gone by the wayside. And we know that there are a million logistical reasons behind that. But we need to look at too, if we have so many people working on the programming, how can we do it more efficiently? If other schools, with the pods and with our house structure and everything, it really should not have been that difficult for at least our lower grades to be able to do that. Obviously, it's very easy for me to say that from home instead of being on campus 12, 14 hours working on it. But how can we make sure it's more efficient and realizes a lot more of what we can do to make that work. That's all for my comment. Thank you.
I'm going to push back on that big time right now. I've got a team of programmers working with 4,000 kids with 2 campuses. We have a lot of kids that don't want to take or eat their educational vegetables, which means they have like a 4.0 GPA, and now they want to take an easy class and we give them a hard class. We're also it would be a lot easier to do programming if we didn't have a lot of choice that we do have for the kids, okay? If it was just a pat schedule, we could get this thing done in a few weeks. My programmers are working their butts off, and so there is no easy way. Brian, I respect you, but I feel like you kind of slapped the programming group a little bit by saying that there is no easy job. That's a thankless job, and they're working like 10 and 15 hours a day, and they're still working now doing it. So I think, like you said, I'm going to push back on you a little bit. Easier for you to say because you're not in those rooms with them, but they're exhausted at the end of the day. It's a thankless job, and I'm getting hit with emails every day about we got 1,000 things going wrong with the world, and I've got seniors that are mad because they think that they're entitled to an 8th period lunch, and we took that away a couple of years ago. I mean, a couple of years ago, seniors came to me, and when I first started, they said, "Mr. G, you don't understand how TAF works. When you're a senior, you take the 2 classes that you don't mind failing, 1st and 8th period, and then you blow those off, and then you always get an 8th period lunch." And I'm like, well, that's not what we're going to do going forward. So I want everybody to know that our programmers are working hard. It's a thankless job. You can't possibly make 4,000 people happy. At the end of the year here, I think what we're getting into is a lot of people are aggravated because they've got a schedule and it changes the last week or even the last day, the day before. But what they need to understand is that we're in a school with a teacher union. okay? And that teacher union says, listen, do not give our teachers any more than 6 kids in a class or any more than 13 on our schedule. So as we start moving kids around and everything, all of a sudden we start seeing that it's not meeting contractual needs, so we have to move kids around. So that's a little caveat in there that we're trying to play by the rules here, and you can't always do that. If anybody has an easier way that we can do programming with 2 buildings and 4,000 kids, I want to meet that programmer, and I will buy him lunch or her lunch, and they can tell us how to do it. But right now, I just think they're doing an outstanding job, and this is one of those things you're never, ever going to make people happy, and you just got to say, you know what? The grand scheme of things, nobody's going to get all 7 classes they want. If you do, it's good for you. Most kids got 6 of their classes, and some kids only got 5 of their classes, but that's just the way the numbers shake out right now, and we had to do that. So I know I'm pushing a little hard on you, Brian, but I really think you kind of gave the programmers like a slap there. So I got to stick up for them. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. G.
Yeah.
Also, we have a student. Where'd she go? Jenin Hatab would like to speak. Let me see if I can. There you go. Go ahead.
Hey, Jenin.
Am I saying your name right?
Janine.
Janine?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Hi. Hello, everybody. I am running for the LSC. And so I was wondering about security. So the CPS has signed a deal with the CPD, and people of color walk through the streets of Taft High School. And I was wondering how they could feel safe knowing that there are police officers in their schools. So we can go backtrack to the security. And I was just wanting to see
that's kind of a broad question. Do you have a more specific issue? I mean, we've had a lot of discussion on this kind of.
How will Taft make sure that people of color feel safe in their schools knowing there are police officers there?
I can answer that question. What we're doing going forward, and Janine, and I'm gonna call you Jenny. You like being called Jenny, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Okay, Jenny. Well, first of all, we voted last month, as you know, and it was 12-0. We were a unique school. I like the fact that CPS gave us the right to judge what's good for our school, because what's good for us is not necessarily good for the other schools. I like the fact that they renegotiated the contract to where they're making less money. And just so you know, that money's not going back to any of the schools that said no to the police officers. But to answer your question right there, I believe to make them feel safe is they need to talk to our police officers. So going forward, we're going to have forums for any student that wants to come and actually talk to our police officers that are SROs, so they can get to know them. Because if we said no and they weren't there, how would somebody change their mind? Now, I think you're making an assumption that we have kids that don't feel safe, that we have police officers walking. I understand the research that's out there. I have not had one student come up to me or say anything to me that they feel unsafe or that our police officers are making them feel unsafe at our schools. Not one. I've had other kids tell me that they think that kids are like that, but I've not had one. And like I tell everybody, my kids come to me with anything. If they thought, like I said, if there's a hair in the green beans, I get 5 kids coming down to the lunchroom telling me. So if kids were feeling, hurt or not safe with those police officers, they would have told me. But even if they would have not told me, I would have had 100 other kids coming to me and telling me this student does not feel safe, and then we would have met with that kid. So going forward, I've already put it on Kat's desk that says we need to develop a bond right now so that our students can talk to our police officers and ask them questions. How else would you change their mind about police officers if not having open dialogue with them? So I think it's really important that A, we have them on campus, but B, that they can talk to these kids and they can say, what's it like to be a police officer? What about this? And they can have that open dialogue with them. So I think going forward, we can have that. And I would hope that you'd be at those meetings asking them questions and even the tough questions, because we have 2 outstanding officers last year. And last year's, I think, the arrests, I think we only made like 3 or 4 arrests, and a couple times our police officers talked people out of arresting a couple of our black students when they could have, and our police officers talked them out of arresting. So I think we're a different school than most schools. So I appreciate your thoughts on that. But again, we have plans going forward that our police officers are going to be open, and that my goal is that Taft High School will be the benchmark for all other schools to look at us to see how we do business. Because we've already got things in place like, why do our police officers have to walk around looking like RoboCop? Can we have them in polo shirts and something that says officers? Because that's a little less threatening to some people. So we're working on some of that stuff too. So I hear what you're saying. We listen to our kids, and going forward, we're going to have more open dialogue with our police officers. I hope that answered it, Jen.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, I think we are complete here. All right. All right, so I guess we can adjourn. We're all done.
Just a quick shout out. I know we have a lot of teachers that are here, maybe 10 or 15 teachers. Just a big thank you today. It was really a tough day for our teachers. And so I'm going to put it out there for any of our parents out there to have your kids like put in the chat tomorrow. Just thank you for their hard work, because it really is at least double the amount of effort that they put in on a school day. So kudos to our teachers, but we have great teachers here that are accepting the challenge. So thank you all the teachers and staff out there.
Thank you, teachers and staff. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second it.
Great. We are adjourned. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Aye.